welcome to Clean Coder YouTube channel. If you are new to this channel, I'll highly recommend you to subscribe to my channel as I make content related to software engineering, system design, and data structures and algorithms. Welcome to part 7 of this exception handling series. In this part, we are going to learn about throwing exceptions. So most probably this is going to be the last part of the exception handling series which we have been doing so far. So let's get started now. So throwing exceptions. If we don't want to handle the exceptions ourselves, or we want to generate our exceptions for others to handle, then we need to get familiar with the throw keyword. So in Java, throw is used to throw a exception, right? So we need to get familiar with this throw keyword. Let's say we have the following checked exceptions we have created ourselves. So we have since we have extended from this exception class, this is a checked exception, right? So this is a checked exception, timeout exception. Cool. So let's move to the next slide now. So throwing a checked exception. It's like returning from a method we can throw at any point, right? So of course we should throw when we are trying to indicate that something has gone wrong, right? So we should only throw when something has gone wrong, like timeout exception we have thrown here. Okay, let's read the third point. Because timeout exception is checked, we also must use the throws keyword in the signature so that callers of our method will know how to handle it. So this part we have done because our exception is checked exception. So we need to do this for checked exception. So let's move to the next slide now. So throwing a unchecked exception, throwing an unchecked exception. If we want to do something like say validate input, we can use an unchecked exception instead, right? Illegal argument exception we know is unchecked exception. So because this illegal argument exception is unchecked, right? We don't have to mark this method, though we are welcome to. So we haven't marked anything like illegal argument exception here because it's unchecked, right? It's not necessary to mark the unchecked exceptions. So some mark the method anyway as a form of documentation. So some people follow this practice, though it's not necessary. So the next topic is wrapping and rethrowing. Okay, wrapping and rethrowing. Let's check this out. So we can also choose to rethrow an exception we have caught. Okay, so till here is the function. What's say signature throws IO exception. Then there is try catch block, right? So this is the try, this is the catch. So we caught the IO exception. Then I am again throwing the exception which I have caught, right? So it's perfectly legal to do this. We can do this. It's perfectly fine. Or we can wrap and rethrow. Okay. So let's check what we are doing here. So we are catching the IO exception here and then we are throwing player load exception. Like we caught a different exception and we are throwing a different exception, right? Even this is perfectly legal, no problem with that. So let's move forward now. So this is nice for consolidating many different exceptions into one, right? So you can do the consolidation thing using this wrap and rethrow. You can consolidate subtypes of exceptions into a main exception or like the use case which you have. Okay, so now the next topic is rethrow, throwable or exception. Okay, what it says is now for a special case if the only possible exceptions that a given block of code could raise are unchecked, right? Then we can catch and rethrow, throwable or exception, without adding them to our method signature. Okay, so you can see there here we have added nothing because the null pointer is a unchecked exception, right? Again, throwable t, we can throw this exception, right? Let's read the theory. While simply the above code can't throw a checked exception, and because of that, even though we are rethrowing a checked exception, right, we don't have to mark the signature with throws clause. Okay, yeah, as soon as this try would execute, this would throw a null pointer exception. So under no scenario it will throw this exception, right, catch part. So it's written that the above code can't throw checked exception. Because of that, even though we are rethrowing a checked exception, yeah, this is the rethrowing of the checked exception. We don't have to mark the signature with the throws clause because yeah, it's understandable now. Let's move forward. Okay, so the last topic of today's discussion is inheritance, and inheritance in particularly in context of this exception handling. So let's go through what this theory says. When we mark method with a throws keyword, it impacts how subclasses can override our method. In the circumstances where our method throws a checked exception, okay, so this is more exceptions class extended exceptions, and this is load all pair methods, and it's throwing my checked exceptions, right? So let's read it. So a less risky signature is this one, right? I am extending this fewer exceptions from exceptions, and I'm overriding this load all player method. And this is a less riskier signature as compared to this more riskier signature. Okay, where this timeout exception is like used with throws. So this is what he's trying to say. Now the reason is given. This because the contracts are determined at compile time by the reference type. If I create an instance of more exceptions and save it to Java, okay, if I'm going to do something like this, then exceptions don't load all players, right? The JVM will only tell me to catch the timeout exception, which is wrong since I've said that more exceptions load all players through a different exception, right? So it can throw a different exception as well. If we check the original signature, right, my checked exception. So yeah, that's all about the effects of inheritance and which needs we need to take care of while doing inheritance with exception handling. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Hey guys, do check out this Instagram channel, Clean Coder Community, for all the jokes and memes related to software engineering. Thanks a lot.